Welcome, brave souls, to a realm where shadows whisper secrets too vile for the light. I'm here to unravel tales so chilling that your skin will crawl long after the silence falls. Help me reach my first 1,000 subscribers, hit that button now, and together, let's unearth the horrors awaiting us tonight. As soon as we pulled up to my grandparents' sprawling country house, I knew this summer was going to be different. The old but well-kept mansion seemed to whisper secrets with every gust of wind that rustled through its ancient trees. My mom, Elaine, my younger brother, Sam, and I were here for a long visit, but space was tight. That's how we ended up in room 7. Room 7 was tucked away at the end of a long hallway, almost as if the house itself was reluctant to let us in. The door creaked ominously as we pushed it open, revealing a room draped in dark blue wallpaper and heavy oak furniture. Dusty navy curtains hung limply over the windows, blocking out most of the daylight. It felt like stepping into another time. As we settled in, I noticed the odd way my grandparents avoided talking about this room. Whenever Sam or I asked about it, they'd just smile, vaguely, and change the subject. It was strange but also kind of thrilling. There was definitely something mysterious about room 7. Later, as Sam and I were unpacking, he leaned close and whispered, "They call it the humming room." His words sent a shiver down my spine. What did that mean? Why was it called that? The questions buzzed in my mind, like the hum Sam mentioned, and I knew I wouldn't rest until I found out more about the secrets of room 7. As night fell and we prepared for bed, the anticipation of uncovering the mystery kept me wide awake, staring at the ceiling, waiting for the house to reveal its secrets. Little did I know, the whispering light of room 7 was about to change everything. The chill of dawn crept into room 7, wrapping around me like a thin, cold sheet. I was deep in sleep when a low hum vibrated through the walls, pulling me from my dreams at exactly 3:33 a.m. At first, I thought it might be some old device in the house, but as I opened my eyes, I saw something that made my heart skip a beat. Hovering just inches from my mom's face was a swirling ball of light. It was mesmerizing, rotating slowly as it emitted that soft humming sound. Fear and curiosity tangled within me, rooting me to the spot. I wanted to reach out to touch it, but something held me back. As the light continued its dance, Elaine stood beside me. The moment she moved, the ball stopped spinning. In a flash, it shot straight up toward the ceiling and vanished, leaving the room silent once more. I lay there, wide awake, my mind racing with questions. What was that light? Why was it here? And what secrets did room 7 hold that no one wanted to talk about? The early morning light barely touched the creaky hallway as I stepped out of room 7, my heart still pounding from the night's eerie encounter. Elaine followed close behind, her face etched with unease. She muttered something about it being a dream, but when she saw me wide awake and staring at the spot where the light had vanished, her doubts wavered. We whispered about the strange light, trying to make sense of it. It was unlike anything we'd ever seen, and the more we talked, the more convinced we became that we needed to tell our grandparents. As we approached their room, a sense of tension hung in the air, thick and palpable. Grandpa listened to our story, his expression softening into a dismissive smile. He brushed it off as a dream, but there was something in his eyes that suggested he knew more than he let on. Grandma, on the other hand, pulled me aside, her voice low and serious. She told me I wasn't the first to see it, and the gravity of her words sent a shiver down my spine. Just then, as we were recounting the events, a drawing fluttered out from the closet in room 7. It was a simple crayon scribble, but unmistakably the image of a boy. The sight of it made my heart race even faster. Who was he? And what connection did he have to the mysterious light that haunted our room? The attic was a maze of old boxes and dusty furniture, the perfect place to hide secrets. Sam and I were determined to uncover the truth about the whispering light. We rummaged through the clutter, our fingers tracing over forgotten memories, until we stumbled upon a small, leather-bound diary hidden beneath a pile of yellowed newspapers. The diary belonged to a boy named Nico, who once lived in this house. With every page I turned, a surge of excitement coursed through me. Nico wrote about a bright whisper that visited him at night, much like the light I had seen. His entries were filled with a mix of fear and wonder, and as I reached the final page, my breath caught in my throat. In his last entry, Nico wrote, "Tonight, it said my name." The connection was too eerie to ignore. Was Nico the boy in the drawing we found? And what did his experience mean for us? As Sam and I sat there, absorbed in the diary, a faint whisper echoed through the attic, sending chills down my spine. It was soft, almost inaudible, but clear enough for me to make out my name, Lily. The storm outside raged, its thunder echoing the turmoil in my heart as I sat alone in room 7. Determined to face the whispering light, I set up a camera on a tripod, hoping to capture whatever mystery unfolded. The clock ticked closer to 3:33 a.m., and my nerves were on edge. Right on time, the light returned, but this time, it was different. It appeared beneath my feet, brighter and more intense than before. It flickered erratically, casting eerie shadows across the room. Suddenly, it split into 2 orbs. One orb began to circle around me slowly, as if examining me, while the other drifted toward the closet. As the orb near the closet hovered, the dark blue wallpaper started to peel away, revealing old handprints hidden beneath. I was gripped by fear, and yet, a thrill I couldn't explain bubbled beneath the surface. What secrets were these handprints hiding? Were they connected to Nico? The camera, unfortunately, malfunctioned, capturing only a single still image. But when I later reviewed the audio, my heart skipped a beat. Amidst the static, a faint voice whispered, "Stay." The word echoed in my mind, a haunting reminder that the mystery of room 7 was far from over. The morning after the stormy night, I couldn't shake the eerie feeling that lingered from my encounter with the light. I told Mom everything, and after a moment of thoughtful silence, she decided to head to the town library to dig deeper into the mystery. At the library, surrounded by shelves filled with local history and bizarre tales, Mom delved into the records. It didn't take long for her to find what we needed. The town records revealed that Nico was the son of the original homeowners of the house. He had tragically died from a mysterious fever, and after his death, the house was sold. His name was rarely mentioned afterward, as if the family wanted to forget the pain of losing him. As Mom sifted through more documents, a librarian approached her, hinting that Nico's spirit might be seeking someone to remember him by. The pieces of the puzzle started to fall into place. The whispering light, the diary, the handprints had all connected to Nico's unfinished goodbye. Armed with this new knowledge, Mom decided it was time to share the truth with me. She hurried back to our room, her expression a mix of determination and concern. The mystery of room 7 was far more profound than we had ever imagined, and now we had a chance to help Nico find peace. On our last night in room 7, a restless energy kept me awake. I couldn't leave without doing something for Nico's spirit. I took a piece of paper, wrote his name on it, and slipped it under my pillow. It felt like a small gesture, but it was all I could think to do to acknowledge him, to remember him. As the clock struck 3:33 a.m., the light returned, but it was different this time. It was softer, almost gentle. It hovered near me, flickering once before it slowly faded into a warm glow that filled the entire room. For the first time since we arrived, the humming stopped. The silence was soothing, and I felt a sense of peace wash over me. I drifted into a deep sound sleep, feeling as if I had done something truly meaningful. As I slipped into dreams, I heard a soft voice, almost like a breath, whispering, "Thank you." It was faint, but it filled me with a sense of closure. From that moment on, my fascination with supernatural stories grew. The experience with Nico's light had opened a door to a world of mysteries and wonders, and I knew I would always seek to understand and explore them. I'm Emily, just a freelance graphic designer in my early 20s, but lately, my nights have been anything but normal. I've been having vivid dreams which always start in the same place, an old, nearly abandoned playground in my neighborhood at dusk. The sky is a faded canvas, and I find myself sitting alone on a squeaky swing with strange sounds. In each dream, a man named Rowan appears. He's quiet, almost eerie, and speaks in a language that makes me shiver, but somehow, I understand him. He always warns me to leave before the sky becomes empty, his voice filled with urgency. Every time he utters the word empty, the entire playground shakes slightly, as if trembling with something. In these dreams, the sun sets at an unusual pace, plunging the world into darkness too quickly. When something terrible is about to happen, I wake up, my heart pounding, like a wake-up call, urging me to escape the festering nightmare. These dreams are unsettling, but there is something about Rowan's cryptic warnings and the strange setting that draws me back night after night. I can't shake the feeling that these dreams are more than just a prank of my subconscious. Tonight, something has changed. I decide to stay in the dream after Rowan warns me to leave, before the sky goes blank. When he disappears, a suffocating darkness covers the playground, unlike anything I've ever experienced. It's a deep void, with no moon or stars to break its relentless grip. The air turned foul, filled with the smell of decay. Then glowing figures emerged from the darkness, their shapes strange and undefined. Their whispers were like claws clawing at my mind, trying to dig in. I could feel the cold dread seeping into my bones, but I refused to wake. I needed to know what lay beyond Rowan's warning. Distantly, I heard Rowan's voice, weak and desperate, urging me to wake. But I clung to the dream, driven by the need to discover the truth hidden in this nightless darkness. The figures drew closer, their whispers growing more insistent, and I braced myself for whatever was coming next. Back in my apartment, I couldn't shake the strange whispers from last night's dream, so I started writing them down in my journal, hoping to make sense of them. As I compared the scribbles to the ancient language symbols, one phrase kept popping up. "The party begins with memory." It made me shudder. Desperate for answers, I reached out to my friend, a linguist who specializes in ancient languages. But when I explained everything, she panicked and refused to help. It was frustrating, but I couldn't blame her. It was getting weirder and weirder. That same night, I slipped into the dream world again. This time, Rowan was angry. He said I was inviting them in with my stubbornness. His anger was palpable, and it scared me. When I woke up, I found a bruise on my leg, perfectly shaped like the symbol I'd seen on the glowing figures in my dream. It was as if the dream was starting to seep into reality, and I couldn't ignore it any longer. In my dream, I found myself walking down the playground, discovering a hidden tunnel. The walls were filled with centipede-like creatures, their movements unsettling me, but they paid no attention to me. I continued forward, driven by the need to understand what was happening. The tunnel led me to an underground cavern, where the air was heavy with despair. I saw images of people, all pale and silent, trapped in some kind of limbo. It was heartbreaking, and I felt a wave of sympathy for them. Then Rowan appeared, his presence both comforting and unsettling. He revealed something shocking: he wasn't human. He told me that he was once a trapped soul who had escaped, and now he warned others of the dangers that lurked here. His story made me realize how deep this cave went. As I scanned the faces of the trapped souls, my heart skipped a beat. Among them, I saw one who looked exactly like me. It was eerie and unsettling, like looking into a warped mirror. The implications of this discovery sent a chill down my spine, and I knew I had to find a way out of this nightmare before it engulfed me. The line between my dreams and reality began to blur. I found myself losing track of time in the real world, the days passing in a blur. At night, the creaking of the swing outside my window haunted me, a constant reminder of the nightmare I couldn't escape. In the dream, the person who looked like me, the person I'd seen trapped in the underground cave, began to open his eyes. It was terrifying, like seeing a part of myself awaken in a world I didn't understand. Rowan appeared again, his voice urgent. He warned me that if both selves became aware of each other, the spiritual predators lurking in the shadows could consume me completely, body and mind. The thought sent shivers down my spine, and I knew I had to find a way to separate my dream self and my real self, or risk losing everything. In my dream, I found myself back on the playground, facing the centipede creatures that haunted the tunnel walls. Desperate to escape the predators, I confronted them, offering my fear in exchange for Rowan's release. Surprisingly, they agreed, but on one horrifying condition: I had to stay in the dream forever. I hesitated, the thought of being trapped here forever weighing on me, but the fear of losing Rowan and the looming threat of the predators pushed me close to accepting their deal. Just as I was about to agree, my dream self, the one trapped in the cave, bit in my arm, pulling me out of the dream. I woke up gasping for air, drenched in sweat, my heart pounding as if I had just narrowly escaped death. My hand was swollen and blackened, the pain excruciating. I rushed to the doctor, hoping for answers. They found no signs of infection, only signs of necrosis, as if my flesh were dying for no apparent reason. It was terrifying, a stark reminder that the line between my dreams and reality was dangerously thin. The dream had shaken me, terrified me. But I was a strong-willed girl, and I decided it was time to face my fears. I gathered my courage and headed to the real playground that had haunted my dreams. When I got there, I found the place strangely familiar. Every creak of the swing, every detail, was a perfect match for my nightmare. I sat on the swing, the cold metal against my skin, and let the memories wash over me. Rowan's voice echoed in my mind from our last encounter, warning me that the line between dreams and reality was now paper thin. His words haunted me, a constant reminder of the danger that lurked. From that moment on, I lived more cautiously, aware that every action could tip the balance. The playground, once a place of harmless fun, became a symbol of my struggle to maintain sanity in a world where dreams could merge with reality. On a cold Friday evening in January, I was curled up on the couch in our small two-story house on Oak Ridge Street. The street was as quiet as it usually was in our rural town. I held my phone in my hand and half listened to a true crime news report, trying to ignore the anxiety that was gnawing at me about my father's health and my aunt's condition. Suddenly, my aunt, who was sitting nearby in a wheelchair, tensed. Her eyes widened, and I knew something was wrong. That's when I heard a loud, piercing noise from across the street. It echoed through the night, shattering the usual quiet of our cul-de-sac. I glanced out the window, my heart pounding. The noise was coming from the direction of the old police station, a nearly abandoned building that had long since been empty. What could have caused such a disturbance? The unsettling noise from earlier had barely subsided when chaos erupted outside. I rushed to the front window, peering out into the night sky. Two men, clearly drunk, were staggering out into the street. One, with a shaved head and a leather jacket, was screaming at the top of his lungs. The other, wearing a mud-stained hoodie, was circling our house, muttering incoherent words. My heart pounded as the man in the leather jacket suddenly lunged toward the front door, pounding on it. I could hear the wood warping under his weight. Panic surged through me as I rushed to the door, trying to block it with anything I could find. A chair, a table, anything to keep them out. From the living room, my father's faint cries for help echoed through the air, each one faint. It broke my heart to hear him so helpless, the first time I felt him so helpless. My aunt, in the wheelchair, sat still, her eyes wide with fear. As I struggled with the railing, I caught a glimpse of the man's hand pounding on our glass door. Blood was running down his knuckles, but he still had a strange, emotionless smile, as if he felt no pain. The smile sent a chill down my spine, making the situation all the more surreal and terrifying. The night quickly turned into a nightmare, and I knew we had to hold on until someone came to rescue us, or until these strangers decided to leave us alone. After what seemed like an eternity, the two men finally left our front door. I breathed a sigh of relief, but it didn't last long. From the high window of the house, I saw them reappear in a rusted SUV, the engine roaring like an angry roar. The car drove as if to threaten us. One of them, the one in the muddy hoodie, got out and headed toward the nearby grocery store. It was strange, because the store was supposed to be closed at this hour, but he still managed to get inside. He emerged a few minutes later, carrying a suspicious bag, which only made me more nervous. The SUV didn't leave. It just sat there, the roar of the engine now sounding like an old-fashioned generator, a constant reminder of their presence. My mind was racing, trying to figure out what was going on. From the second floor, I took my phone and snapped a blurry photo of the SUV's license plate. I hoped it would be useful, so I tried uploading it to the town's safety app. But every time I tried to send it, the app crashed. Frustration mixed with fear as I realized we were on our own, with no immediate help. The night was not over yet, and that mysterious car still outside our house was a cold reminder that anything could happen. With the SUV still ominously parked outside, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. I walked past the bathroom, trying to look out the small window, my heart skipping a beat. One of the men, the one in the leather jacket, was staring straight at me. It was impossible he couldn't see me from that angle, but his eyes were locked on me with a disturbing intensity. Shivering, I hurried back to check on my family. When I reached the first floor, my aunt, still in her wheelchair, looked terrified. She pointed to the hallway mirror, her voice shaking as she described the sight of the man reflected there, even though he wasn't actually in the hallway. A chill ran down my spine. How could he be in two places at once, one outside and one inside our house? The line between reality and something far more sinister seemed to blur with each passing second. The night was slowly becoming a nightmare. None of us could sleep that night. Fear and uncertainty filled the air, and I tossed and turned until the first light of dawn crept through the curtains. When it was light, a spark of determination shone through. I knew I had to do something, so I gathered my courage and snuck across the street to the old police station. The building was supposedly abandoned, but as I stepped inside, I noticed a series of fresh footprints etched into the thick layer of dust. My heart pounded as I followed them, leading me to a dusty desk with a sheet of paper on it. It was a list, and my breath caught when I saw my family's name on it. Next to our family name were the names of 2 other families who had mysteriously disappeared years ago. Then my eyes fell on a series of numbers scrawled at the bottom of the page. A surge of hope surged through me as I picked up the old phone on the table and dialed the first number. Perhaps these were forgotten contacts from when the police station was still in operation. When the phone rang, I clung to the hope that someone on the other end could help us solve this nightmare and bring us some peace. Inside the old police station, I dialed number after number on the list, but each call went unanswered. My hope diminished with each unanswered ring, but then, on the 44th try, something else happened. Finally, the phone rang again. The voice on the other end of the line knew my name, and I was surprised and scared. I tried to ask, but was met with silence. Before I could ask further, there was a sudden click, followed by a scream of terror that echoed through the receiver. My heart pounded, and I slammed the phone down, the sound still ringing in my ears. A sense of loss told me that this number was not a ray of hope. Instead, it seemed to pull me deeper into the horror that surrounded us. With a heavy heart, I decided it was time to leave the police station and return home. No matter what happened, I needed to be with my family. The second night was even scarier. I was dozing off, trying to calm my nerves, when the sound of the SUV turning around woke me. I rushed to the window, my heart pounding. The backup lights flickered erratically from the sudden power outage, casting strange shadows across the room. When I looked outside, my breath caught in my throat. There, standing next to the SUV, was a third man. He wore a police badge that glowed ominously red in the darkness. The sight sent shivers down my spine as I pieced together the events of the previous day. The police station across the street wasn't abandoned. It had been used for something dark, and the men who had terrorized us weren't just drunk. They weren't even alive. The realization hit me like a wave of cold dread. What had I witnessed? What nightmare had we stumbled into? That night, unable to escape from fear and confusion, I went downstairs to where my aunt was resting. Seeing that she was awake, I confided in her about everything that had happened in the past few days. Surprisingly, she also had something to share. My aunt confessed that there was a door in the basement that had been sealed ever since my parents bought the house. She had always wondered about it, doubting its purpose. Could this mysterious door be the root of all our problems? After analyzing the situation, we knew we had no choice but to face it. With a mixture of fear and determination, we opened the basement door. What we found was beyond anything I could have imagined, a tunnel leading straight to the old police station. As we ventured down the cold, creepy passage, strange sounds filled the air. Creepy screams echoed around us, sending shivers down my spine. A feeling of disgust welled up inside me. But thoughts of my family, my father, my aunt, gave me the strength to move forward. We had to find a way to end this nightmare and restore peace to our home. As I walked through the strange tunnel, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were about to solve the mystery. The tunnel led us to the old police station substation, and there, in the darkness, I discovered a box that needed to be deciphered. I remembered what my aunt had told me the night before. Could it be that this was where criminals were held, and they had died here, leaving their spirits to haunt the area? I realized that this wasn't just happening to us, it had happened to other families around us. It fueled my resolve to solve the puzzle. I thought about all the events that had happened, but then, in a flash of light, I remembered the blurry photo of the SUV's license plate I'd taken from the second floor of the house. Those numbers were the key to unlocking the box. With shaking hands, I entered the numbers, and the box opened. Inside, I found a key and a simple instruction. Lock the basement door. Now I understood. This was the door that had allowed those spirits to invade our lives, causing chaos and terror. Without hesitation, I rushed back through the tunnel to the living room, where the basement door was ominously wide open. With the key in hand, I locked it, blocking the path those spirits had used to disrupt the peace of the family. As the door closed, a deep sense of relief washed over me. The haunting echoes faded, and the air became lighter. We had broken the loop, and at last, my family could rest in peace, free from the darkness that haunted Oak Ridge Lane.